The extension of the Obamacare subsidies, those expire in just a few weeks. Millions of Americans could lose a lot of money when their premiums go up. So why was the president maybe being a little bit conciliatory? You may have noticed Harry
I'm right here.
is standing here with me right now.
Who knew?
He's been here listening to this entire conversation so far. CNN's chief data analyst right now. We talk about health care.
Yeah.
What do Americans say? How do Americans rate the president right now on the issue of health care?
Just flat out awful. In fact, it's the worst of his major issues. I mean, just take a look here. This is according to the new AP North poll. 29%. He doesn't even reach 30% on it. Approve of the job. I was looking back at all the AP North polls. This ties for his lowest rating ever in either term 1 or term 2. Disapprove more than double. 69%. Runs 40 points higher than the approval. That is gosh darn awful. It's horrendous. And when you look at Republicans, even 39% of Republicans say they disapprove. When we're talking about 2/5 of the Republican base saying they disapprove of Donald Trump on a particular issue, you know that the American people are against him. And I should point out this 29% is no outlier. I was looking at the Fox News poll. That was sub 35% as well. The bottom line is Americans very much dislike Donald Trump and healthcare. It is no wonder he's taking a more conciliatory tone.
All right, the immediate issue at hand is the extension of these Obamacare subsidies. They expire within 3 weeks. What do voters say they want to see there?
Extend it. They want to see him extended. I mean, this, once again, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a clear majority of the American public say they want those expiring ACA subsidies extended compared to just 30% who say let them expire. Again, we're talking double, more than double on the extend side versus the let expire. And even 45% of Republicans on my little note there say that they should be extended. Again, we're talking about an issue that unites Democrats and cracks the Republican base right down the middle. This is just awful politics for Republicans.
As we stand here today, they are not going to be extended. If that remains the case, who gets the blame?
Yeah, I don't think it will be too much of a surprise to our viewers based upon the presentation, based upon the first slide, what our last slide's going to show you here. And this is really simple. Blame if ACA subsidies aren't extended. This is among those who are enrolled in the ACA. Look at this. 63%, the vast clear majority say Trump or the congressional Republicans will get the blame, compared to just 19% of congressional Democrats. Again, the point of this segment is we are seeing massive majorities blaming Trump, saying they want the ACA subsidies to be extended, and if they're not, they are blaming the Republican Party and Donald Trump. The polling is rarely ever this clear, but on this issue, it is very much clear. This is an issue that hurts Republicans and very much helps Democrats.
It's interesting. This number is interesting because the Republicans argue that Democrats who wrote this law and passed it, they did so. They were the ones who created the expiration date, right? So it's their fault, but American people don't seem to be buying it.
No, they don't buy the Republican spin at all.
Harriet, thank you.
Thank you, John.
The Senate rejected dueling bills to extend the Obamacare tax subsidies. Both the Republican and Democratic versions failed. But 4 Republicans did cross the aisle and support the Democratic bill, which extends the Obamacare subsidies for another 3 years. So, is there hope for a compromise? Well, President Trump seems to think so. Tonight, he is signaling that he may be open to working with Democrats.
What a nice group of Democrats. We do. We have a lot of Democrats, and we welcome you. Honestly, we do. And I think we're going to start working together on health care. I really predict that.
Well, joining me now, a Democrat who Trump may want to work with, Georgia Senator and Pastor Raphael Warnock. Good evening, Senator. I'm happy to have you here and get your insight because everyone's asking about the fact that today's Democratic bill failed. So what happens now? Is there any hope of some deal in the Senate?
Thank you so very much. Great to be here with you. Quite frankly, you should ask my Republican colleagues because we gave them 13 opportunities to prevent this huge spike in healthcare premiums for some 22 million Americans, many of them in red districts and in red states. They will see their healthcare premiums double on average. For some people, it will triple, others it will quadruple. And that's on top of having knocked 15 million Americans off of their health care by cutting $1 trillion out of Medicaid, as they did in the one big ugly bill, all to give billionaires a tax cut. I think Americans have to ask themselves, who are the Washington Republicans working for? We'll keep pushing them, but we'll keep making this argument all the way to November. But hopefully they will come to their senses and stand up for their own constituents, not have their health care premiums double.
The thought of that increase is astounding to people. It's terrifying thinking about everyone's budgets, in particular with the top Republican here in Washington, D.C., the President of the United States. He is saying tonight that he thinks that Republicans and Democrats will work together to pass some type of health care reform. Have you heard from the White House?
What we've been hearing from Donald Trump over the last 10 years is that he's got a plan. He's coming up with a plan. Next week he'll have a plan. He has concepts of a plan. Meanwhile, this enrollment period, we're here. We're here. This is not about next month or next year. People need help right now, Mr. President.
A new poll shows that 67% of Americans don't actually approve of the president's handling of the economy and all that it contains. Is there a method for Democrats to sort of capitalize on that in 2026, given those concerns and what you have articulated about the Republican failures to work on health care?
Well, Laura, I was a pastor long before I came to the Senate, and I'm genuinely concerned about the people whose faces I see in my congregation every Sunday. This is not a political game for me. This is not about who's up or down, who's in or out, Democrats, Republicans. When you ask people across Georgia, they're not thinking about the politicians. They're asking who's going to address this affordability crisis that is real, that they are facing every single day, which Donald Trump is calling a hoax, even though he ran on affordability. And what they're seeing is their utility bills have spiked considerably. Sadly, we're likely to see more of that because of the president's policies. Their health care premiums will be doubling, tripling. Some people will lose their health care altogether. And even as we go now into the holiday Christmas season, people are seeing that the cost of Christmas gifts are going way up.
Yes.
And instead of providing a solution, the president is providing advice on how many dolls and pencils parents should buy for their children. Surely we can do better than that.
The vote in the Senate failed to extend the subsidies, the dueling proposals between Republicans and Democrats in the Senate. Donald Trump last night, not pointing fingers, with a very different tone this time. Listen to this.
What a nice group of Democrats. We do. We have a lot of Democrats, and we welcome you. Honestly, we do. And I think we're going to start working together in health care. I really predict that.
An olive branch, an opening. Yes, Maria?
Let's hope so. But we've seen up until now that Donald Trump says one thing one day and the next day can say completely different things. And we've known up until now that he has railed against Obamacare. Republicans have tried to get rid of Obamacare hundreds of times. They have had 15 years to come up with a viable alternative to the Affordable Care Act, and they have completely failed. So now, yes, let's try this, Donald Trump and Republicans. If you really want to help the American people, instead of giving them the middle finger, which is what they have done this whole year on the issue of the economy and on the issue of healthcare, Democrats are ready. We are ready and willing to sit down with Republicans to try to figure out a better way forward. That's what American families want. That's what they deserve. Hopefully Republicans have learned their lesson and will now work with Democrats to get that done for the American people.
Real quick, Scott, your smile indicates what? I can't read this one.
Yes, Republicans have learned our lesson about Obamacare, which we didn't vote for. Republicans have learned our lesson about Obamacare subsidies, which Democrats had to have to fix Obamacare. Republicans have learned our lesson about the sunset provision that Democrats put on the Obamacare subsidies. This entire mess, this entire fiasco is a Democratic healthcare regime under which we all live. And Democrats have to pretend like everybody loves it. And then they have to come up with a scheme to pay health insurance companies billions of dollars and then beg Republicans to fix their mess. Yeah, we've learned our lesson, Maria. We'll see what happens. But this is your law, not ours.
I feel like the olive branch is not. The olive branch is dying on the vine, and I'm totally mixing metaphors, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's good to see you both.